everybody, and welcome back to another great edition of my Grue Rume Show. And for the Grue Rume Show today, I got a very great guest. He is a actor, a writer, and he also dabbled with music too. And I'm talking about James Duval. And I'm really looking forward to talking to him. He's going to be starring in a brand new horror movie. It's a horror anthology called Tales from the Other Side. And we're going to talk to him about that, about his other roles, and Donnie Darko as well. I am Rocco Cross. I am the host at Stutters. I am the host of the Grue Room. And my interview with the acting icon James will be coming up very, very soon. So this is my show, and welcome to my nightmare. Okay, welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for taking time out of your morning and coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I mean, honestly, I'm really flattered. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
Oh, thank you. Me too.
So there's a horror film coming out that I know you're doing a lot of horror films all at once, so they're all combined in like, so you probably don't know which one is why.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. It was the funny thing is because I shot the little piece. It's called Either or, Inside Tales of the Other Side. And I remember they first called me up and like, oh, we've got some interest. You got some interviews for Tales from the Other Side, and I was like, okay, I've been lucky enough to work, but what did I make called Tales from the Other Side? I was trying to think about it. I'm like going through my scripts. I'm like, did I not remember making this movie somehow? I mean, I've never forgot anything. I honestly, I've not forgot, but I somehow just couldn't remember what it was. I'm like, I don't remember making a movie called Tales. And then I was like, oh, it's an anthology film.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so this is even cooler because I love the concept of what we made originally as a short film. And movies like I've had the honor of working on other anthology horrors like Tales from Halloween.
I love that. Like I watch that one every Halloween. Like
that's a fun one. Yeah, I love that. There's so many really funny, great segments in that.
Oh my god, yeah, especially with the kid that's eating the candy and what happens to him. Oh my god,
it's so good. It's just like this short little tales of horror and fun filled mystery, kind of like Trick or Treat was very much which
with Sam.
And I really love that. So I love those things. So I doing it was a lot of fun, but when I realized it became part of an anthology, then honestly, I'm really excited about it now. And it's right around the corner. It's coming out in June.
Yeah, that's what they were telling me. It's going to be coming out in June.
It's like, all right, I get to watch one of my movies finally. It's flattering too sometimes. It's talking about like, oh, I was on set last night and someone was talking about another movie. I guess I have this other movie, which is incredible. She's like, you did that stalker movie where you play that kidnapper. I was like, oh yeah, like Abduction of Jennifer Grace. And she's like, I just saw it. I'm like, you just saw that? 5 years. I've had like a box of 40 DVDs. No one asked me for a copy. She's like, it's on Netflix. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. All right, okay, so it's getting out there. Because honestly, I'm like, well, how was it? I have it, but I haven't watched it. And
exactly.
She's like, it's really creepy. You're really creepy. You're like, oh, okay, that's good. Cause that's what I was shooting for. That's what I was going for. I didn't know, you don't know sometimes. So, I move from job to job. And if I don't get invited to the premiere or get the movie right away, I get a little self-conscious about watching myself. So I tend I'm not like when I was younger, cause I've been doing it for a while now, but I'm like, oh, wait, me watch me.
I think that's like that for a lot of actors though. Like, they'll do a film and then they don't want to see how they act in it, or they don't want to watch the film if they're involved in it.
We're just happy if you like it. If you like it, we're like I'm like, if I watch myself, I might quit. I don't want to do that. And why give up myself to you guys like that so easily?
Right.
One thing I've always said at auditions, I'm like, look, you better just get used to me, because even if you don't cast me in this, I'm gonna get cast in something else, and I'm
Right,
not gonna
exactly.
go away. I'm like a really bad sexually transmitted disease. You can have me for life. I'm not going anywhere. So you better get used to me. And I know a few times they're like, did you just call yourself an STD? And I'm like, I did. But those are lifelong as well. You have to learn to live with those for life, like me.
That's true.
So we have a lot in common. I don't want to go away. I'm not done yet. I got a lot more movies to make.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like I was on your page, IMDb page, and I saw like you got all these movies, mostly all horror and like all like pre-production and post-production.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, again, I'm just really lucky, when I started off acting and in the 90s, making movies with Karaoke and doing like Doom Generation and SLC Punk and all the way through to Donnie Darko, it was only doing maybe 2 or 3 movies a year.
Oh wow, really?
If I could do 2 or 3 movies a year, I felt like that was a good momentum and a good way to keep my career up. But I ended up, especially as time goes on, sitting for more than half the year. As movies started to go from 2 or 3 months to film it to a month to 2 or 3 weeks, then 2 or 3 movies I can go through 2 or 3 movies, honestly, in a month.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a little supporting part here, a day roll here, a lead here, and I'm out.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 2 months. For 2 months, I could do 3 movies usually.
Wow.
So I try to pack them in. I just try to work as much as possible, because I know that there's certainly some things, like I've seen a few things in the past where I was like, oh yeah, that wasn't too bad, or 1 or 2, also where I was like, oh yeah, I wasn't doing that. It just wasn't good. But I tried my best, and that's all you can do is just, you keep going. You fall down and you get up and you keep going. And even the ones where maybe I didn't really like myself, which is why it's hard to watch myself sometimes, because when you see those, you're like, oh yeah, dude, you need to quit.
Well, I mean, it could be how the script was written too. It probably wasn't written the good way, and
yeah, when I know some people are like, oh, I didn't think you were bad. I'm like, you're smoking crack, but thank you. But it's so sometimes it is just me. It is. I'm so hypercritical of everything. So then it gets just difficult to watch. I try to just go based on, as long as the director's happy, and the actors seem to be happy, and the audience seems to react well, then I just, I kind of honestly, I just explore. I explore all these characters. Like last night, give it 150%, just totally go for it, and wrap that character out and leave them behind, for the next jobs. Because I got, a couple other films coming up still.
Nice. And like the one that's coming out in June, Tales from the Other Side. Can you tell me a little bit about it? It's 6 different tales in one film. Can you tell me about the tale that you're in and the character you play?
I can. It's called, the tale that I'm in is called Either Or, and it takes place in a mental asylum.
Ooh.
Basically a tete-a-tete, head to head, against my psychological therapist or my doctor, what have you. And through the course of the interview or the conversation, you uncover sort of the background behind my character, what I'm in there for, and why I need to be treated. But as you also continue through the interview, you maybe begin to question which one of us is sane.
Ooh.
And maybe, I don't want to give it away, because there's a few twists and turns in this.
Nice.
It's definitely takes a bit of a horror turn, I think, when it comes to the psychology of being insane or being a doctor for the insane.
Okay. It sounds very good. It's something I definitely want to see.
I mean, it's. I want to say more, but I don't want to spoil it at the same time. I know, some people. I'm not horrible when I get spoilers, to be quite honest. But I know some of my friends get really like, don't even tell me, Jimmy. I don't even want to hear it. I'm like, So I've gotten used to talking things in a very, very general way.
Okay.
I I really the entire setting, I think, of the insane asylum is really kind of cool and interesting, maybe even a little bit heavenly, otherworldly.
Oh, wow.
I guess one thing I can say is I've been hearing the voice of God. So without spoiling it, I'm hearing the voice of God. They know I hear the voice of God. They don't hear the voice of God. But what would happen if perhaps they did hear the voice of God?
Right.
And it's not me.
Okay, all right. It has like a little. It definitely sounds like it has a twist, and you have to think about what's happening. Like it messes with your mind that you have to think.
Well, yeah, what you believe in, what you think is true, and
Mhm.
and that's what I kind of like about it in a short span of time, is sort of gets you to question your understanding of reality, of that reality that you're watching on. You think that you got a good hold on it, and maybe you do, maybe you don't.
Okay, all right. I'm liking it. Okay.
We'll have to see. Well, yeah, we'll have to see is when everyone tunes into Tales from the Other Side. Will you
Exactly.
make it back?
And how was it like working with the cast for the tale that you're in, and actually working in the mental asylum?
The cast was great. I mean, we shot in about 3 days. Besides the doctor and the nurse, everyone else is, paid. Well, I guess we have the two kind of, because it reminds me of a little bit of like a twisted One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
the
yeah,
nurses that have to restrain us when we go crazy, and so
yeah,
you
exactly.
definitely, even before you come to our interview, we introduce a colorful, vast array of characters that you would definitely find inside one of those. I don't know. I don't like the word insane or crazy. It makes me
Yeah.
crazy. Let's say the special institution for special people.
Okay, there you go. And what did what did you like best about working on the film?
um, well, both of the directors are really great. It's the director of Mope, a feature film called Mope, which is sort of about trying to get make a porn into the porn industry.
Nice.
It's really funny. And the director of Sushi Girl.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so suspense thriller. So throwing those guys together, you do get this kind of funny, psychological, kind of thriller horror element thrown in there with it. And again, without giving it away, let's just say that everybody that I'm surrounded with in my hospital wing
Yeah.
is has something special going on. So
Nice.
yeah.
And that was a really good film too. The sushi girl.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies. I made a lot of movies that are my favorite, but there's another one where you had a really great cast and you had a
Yeah.
great crew, and the directors and the writers and producers, and we all came together making this. It was kind of this little tiny movie that could. So we had this incredible cast, but we didn't have a lot of money and we didn't have a lot of
Oh,
time.
oh wow.
So the entire film was like, if we only had 3 more days, if we only had like 10 more thousand, maybe 50 more thousand, but it's that, yeah, I mean, and that's a common thing you get on a lot of jobs. If we only had a little bit more time, if we
Yeah.
only had a little bit more money, but at the end of the day, make something that's beyond what you thought you could achieve. So we went beyond it, I think.
Okay. Yeah, definitely did.
Well, and I'm hoping the same for Either or in Tales from the Other Side, because like I said, I was really, really happy and pleasantly surprised to hear that we got picked up to be part of a anthology.
I know, right? Exactly. Like like you were saying, I love like those horror anthology films, like Tales from Halloween, and like you were saying, Trick or Treat, and like even the trilogy of terror.
I love so we grew up
Karen
with
Black.
trilogies as a terror when I was a little boy, and I remember just that little. We used to just be like
That little
seeing the
doll, right?
zombie, and then when Chucky came out, we're like, what?
Yeah, that was when I first became a fan of Karen Black. Like, and then I start looking back at her like other work too, and then of
How
course she was in House of a Thousand Corpses, and
she's a legend. She's a legend. Karen Black. I remember when I first became an actor and I'd hear like, oh, Karen Black. I'm like, oh my God, Karen Black, the Trilogy Terror. Oh my God, I know she, I've known her since I was like this big.
Yes, exactly.
It hasn't happened yet, but it was always a dream to hopefully one day have done a movie with her.
Yeah. And like you have done and you're still doing a lot of horror films. Like what draws you to the world of horror?
Well, horror is a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to film.
Oh
And,
yeah.
I like that dichotomy of like, everyone's and then you cut while you're filming it and you're like, oh, it was great. You think that'll work? That'll get them. So it's always, you're like, it's like trying stuff to try to achieve something, to push it a little bit further, and it never gets old.
Oh yeah, I know, exactly.
Because you're always kind of pushing it.
Definitely. Like I could watch horror all the time. I never get tired of it.
Yeah, and it's like I like to do all sorts of different genres, but anytime I get an offer, as long as the script's pretty decent, I'll jump on board and do it.
Nice.
I'm all for it.
Nice.
I still feel really lucky sometimes, that I grew up with. So horror movies, my first horror movies that I remember growing up were Halloween. And the original Friday the 13th and original Halloween, original Friday the 13th. Alien, all these movies in the 70s, because I was a kid in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So those movies had a profound, frightening effect on me. That, I talk about this in other interviews too. What was kind of the fun thing was this kind of we were creeped out by it, but we're also, there's this keen fascination, so you're like 9 or 10 years old and you go to the adult section, like, I'm not looking at the porn, I'm looking at Fangoria. And you're like, look, they won't even let me watch the movie, but I can look at the magazine. It's amazing. It like prepped me for what I was in for, So I was a little bit more like, okay, I'm going to go in this movie, but I kind of know what's going to happen. I know it's going to be freaky and nasty. What do you know? I don't know, but I know it's gross.
Right, exactly.
That was always like, it's going to be good if it's gross.
Yes, true.
And then they started to evolve, even further in the 90s into what we have now. We're like, yeah, no, we're going to be gross. We're going to be suspenseful, and we're going to be funny. We're going to be all these things at once. And like the other sort of genres in film have kind of started interweaving and crossover together. Mm-hmm. And it's and like we were saying before, it's wonderful to be a part of that development, hoping that, I'm in something that you guys want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I get to talk to you and be here today. So that's, I don't think about that part so often. So this is one of the kind of, I think the rewards for it is the response.
Okay.
At the end. I'm like I said, you're thinking about the work and just trying to do a good job and then go from movie to movie and keep your passion so you can keep your energy. So that energy and excitement that you hopefully bring to the characters shines through. But you don't at the same time expect, you go, oh, this movie will come out, hopefully they'll like it. So it's great when people want to talk about it.
Okay. And like, how do you feel about, like, because I see you do a lot of them, about doing horror conventions and meeting the horror fans, because like horror fans are very loyal, like the fan base is like crazy.
Yeah, it's like when I was younger, I would go to like little conventions and stuff and go to the early Comic Cons in the 90s.
Yeah.
They were still pretty big then, but they weren't, what they've globally become now.
Oh my God, I know, it's huge now.
Yeah, it's incredible. So going to those things, I remember the first time they asked me if I wanted to sign at one. I'm like, me? I'll be there already. You can just, like, no, do you want to be there and sign? I'm like, you mean people want to get my autograph? That's weird. We can try it. Seriously, because if I'm going to be completely honest, it's great that, and I'm beyond flattered to sign and give autographs, but also part of the bonus is to go meet some of the people that I've never met, that I'm big fans of, that I've never met, and you get to go hang out with them all week.
Yeah, exactly.
And so for Sushi Girl, for instance, I met Tony Todd that way many years before Sushi Girl, and we we clicked, and we talked about always wanting, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for him as an actor, knowing his body of work, for years before I'd met him. So I'd always wanted to work with him and do a film. And so Sushi Girl is one of a few movies that we've made now. And I hope to continue working with Tony throughout my career, but
he's a very big guy too. Like, I met him in person. He's huge.
Oh, tiny? Yeah, he's tiny. No, he's Tony's one of my favorite people. I mean, I've been very lucky to meet and work with some wonderful people, but that's really kind of the joy. Once, not even when you're established, but once you become established, you want to hopefully continue to work with the people that you love and admire.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like I almost pick jobs for the talent involved, sometimes even more than the project. Because one question I get asked is like, so what's your ideal character to play? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't, because here's a script with a really interesting character. You go, okay, this is a character I've really wanted to play a lot, for a long time. And you read the script and you're like, oh yeah, no, that's bad. That's a bad script. And then you get this, oh, Jimmy, you have this audition. It's this like guy, it's like a 6 foot tall bunny. You're like, what? 6 foot what? Give me that script. And you read it and you're like, oh man, this is unbelievable. Right, and that was Donnie Darko. So there's this, you really never know what you're going to get, but it's almost always guaranteed to be something special or interesting.
Oh yeah. And like, how do you, like, when you're doing a horror role and it's a horror role where you're either the killer or victim, like how do you get in like a mind frame to play like a horror role?
That's a good question. It depends on the character, even for a killer, I think. I know, so for the movie I was talking about before, The Abduction of Jennifer Grayson, I sort of play this guy who kidnaps women to fall in love with me.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't fall in love with me to get the old, so and then I meet a girl who's might be falling in love with me that I've kidnapped. So it kind of all of a sudden, instead of looking at him as this killer or this monster, it's like examining this person so it became this psychological thing of like, what would it be or take to open this person up? And then that became the idea of like creating this special bond or relationship between us where you could believe it could be real, where you could believe that we're making a connection, and really think about that. Because on the outset of things, if you think about what the script really is, or what the script is, as much as I play that, it's just going to make me all that much creepier. You know what I mean? It's like, because you see this human part of him, but then he's this monster.
Yeah, exactly.
And it makes it even more deceiving and deceitful and untrusting and so exploring that types of characters, exploring ways to kind of get to the audience, or hopefully get to the audience, or bring out, I think, traits and characters that, to some degree, maybe humanize them.
Yeah.
It's like, it's something that my friend said that I always try to bring to horror, to almost every horror movie. He's like, it's like, man, like sometimes it's just like girls don't like creepy things. He's like, hey man, creepy things need loving too. And I was like,
that's true.
Creepy things need loving too. That's right. Everything. So then it's like creepy things need loving too has become my mantra in the last 30 years.
Okay.
Creepy things need loving too.
Hey, everyone needs love, whether you're a creepy person or a regular person, right?
I think it more, to be quite accurate, because we heard it a few times. The first time I heard it, because at the time, we were probably 19, eating a lot of LSD, and had he had these long dreadlocks. And I remember we were at this pool or something. He did something. This girl's just like, you're weird. And he just turns to her, like, she's like, he's like, you're creepy. And he's like, hey, creepy things need loving too. And I was just like, oh man, that breaks my heart. He's right. He's got a point. I'm on the movement of creepy things need loving. I'm on that movement. From there, I jumped on board that. From that point forward, creepy things need loving too.
Okay. And one of the films, what inspired you to write Spinning Day?
Oh, Spinning Dry was an experiment, really. It was a
Spinning
sort of
point that day. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. It's okay. My roommate, more old roommate and writing partner came up with that title. Great writer, great director, actually. I hadn't really written much, and I had some time off. It was about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And he's like, well, why don't we take this month? So, my friend wants us to write the script. We came up with this idea. You and I can write the screenplay, and if it comes out well, she'll produce it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's a chance to here, let's make something. And what are we going to make? What do you guys want to do? And they came up with this sort of, it's like a alcoholic drama. It's very, very like word heavy, very dialogue heavy.
Okay.
Yeah, it all takes place in one night. I play the son of this woman's gardener whose father had a stroke, who was her gardener for decades. And on this day, I'm taking over his job while he's recovering in the hospital, so he doesn't lose his, gardening route.
Yeah.
And when she sees me, she's just come back from a huge night of drinking excessively, and she may or may not have been kidnapped by space aliens.
Oh.
Little thing I like to throw in. Make it interesting. And she comes out to confront me, only to discover that I'm the son of her gardener, who's been her gardener for decades, that she actually didn't know had a son, and he worked for 20 years. She never knew him. She feels horrible. We kind of strike up this unlikely conversation, which turns into kind of unlikely friendship throughout the day. Sort of feelings all bubble up to the surface about, my background with my father and where I come from and why I'm the way I am, and the same with her. And you break down these two, this very, very wealthy woman who's this bad alcoholic problem, bad drinking problem, believes she's so despondent and lonely, and I think removed from the outside world. She believes she's been kidnapped by space aliens. It's a way for her to believe that she's loved or wanted. And then my character is an ex-vet that's come back from the war. He's had to do things that he's not happy about, that he's not proud of, that he's having trouble living with. Mm-hmm. It prevents him from having relationships with people, and he doesn't come from money. He also has a bad drinking problem. So throughout this course of the day, these people's lives are they're going to take each other's lives, and going to take each other apart, and then kind of come back together again differently. At least that was the idea of it. I don't think it's out. I know that we had a rough cut, and then they took the rough cut and then they reshot a bunch of stuff and then re-edited it into the movie. So it's not exactly the movie we wrote anymore.
Oh, okay.
But I hope it turned out well. I know it's streamed a few times, but other than that, I have a rough cut edit of it from before, when this took place, from 2012, I want to say 2011. So I don't know if I know my cut will never see the light of day, but hopefully that other movie will come out in some way or some shape.
Hey, I mean, you never know, right?
Yeah. Time to write a horror movie.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I do have kind of a sci-fi thriller horror one, but I was like, almost like, it's too dark. I don't even know if I can release it as a movie. It might have to be a book because it's so dark. I mean, it's really dark, and it ends so dark. It's like no hope.
Well, I mean, that's what horror movies are.
I was gonna say that's true.
Right. It's dark. Like you could make one of the darkest, creepiest horror films.
Yeah, no escape. There's no escape in this for anyone. I should call it No Escape.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's called 2061 right now.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Not a good year for us. And if we go by what I wrote, neither were the 20 years that preceded it either.
Okay, there you go. Hey, I mean, 2019 up until 2021 wasn't good either.
No, well, there's kind of to be honest, the creepy thing. So I started this idea probably 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I wrote about these sequence of events that would come to fall in the 2020s.
Oh, really?
COVID-19 came a couple years early.
Oh,
what's funny is I wrote SARS, MERS, the Marburg, Ebola, chikungunya, but COVID didn't exist, but SARS was.
Oh, wow.
Well, I just
That's
talked about
crazy.
diseases propagating and going out of control and losing control, and when a pandemic hitting. But in mine, there's many that hit one after the other, because
Yeah.
you have what happens is it's not some weird disease that COVID, at least in my story, takes us out. It's a normal disease that mutates like the flu, like the regular common cold.
Okay. Okay.
Kind of like what we're seeing in monkeypox.
Oh my
but
God.
but that was kind of the idea, is like all of a sudden people were getting sick from something we'd already had medicine for and had a cure, but it just it switched something in itself. And it's just moving throughout humanity, and not just humanity, but jumping back into animals, mutating, jumping back into people, wiping them out even more. So it's pretty brutal. And this is just the precursor. By the way, this isn't even like the early chapters. We're still in like the setup for this.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, do I finish waiting the 2020s out? No, I better get back to this book and finish writing it. Maybe we're at the point that we can make really dark stuff these days.
Exactly. I know, because we actually lived through it. So
yeah, maybe I could do it as a miniseries, because it would take, I think, to do it as a series, at least you couldn't do it as a movie, because it takes place in 10, 15 years, 20 years. Most of the people that are there in the beginning, they're not there. They die by the middle.
okay.
And it's just because nobody lives in this kind of world. It's like nobody's safe. There's nothing, there's nobody in a role that's going to be like, well, that's going to be the person that lives. It's like, no, they're all going to die. I'm such a happy person.
I know, I see that.
Well, it's like thinking about even the way Stephen King wrote, it's like your deepest, darkest fears. What horrifies you?
I know, exactly. I mean, Stephen King always has something dark to write.
Yeah,
I hate to see what goes through his mind.
and then so keeping that idea, so maybe these crazy dark thoughts, maybe they're not such a bad thing to write down. The sun's coming in and making me really pasty. Hold on.
Okay.
That's a little better. Yeah, but then again, it's the same thing as an actor, with the different types of movies or movie roles and challenging myself. It's sort of seeing how far you can go, how far you can take it, not just the characters, but even the writing and the stories. Like, where can we take this in a way that hasn't been done before, or hasn't been done in a way that I would really like to see? And then there's also the sense that maybe what I would like to see wouldn't be scary or freaky, and I'm not going to know that until I make it,
Yeah,
exactly. It would be the ultimate horror.
And, you worked with two actors that I'm really big fans of. I want to know how it was working with them, Vernon Wells and Lynch.
They were very great. I only really I didn't get any scenes with Vernon really, but I've known Vernon actually more through the festival convention. Yeah. And Lynn Shay, the same. We were on that movie together for a moment, but I didn't have scenes with her. But I have to say, I'm still, so those are two actors I'm dying to get scenes with.
All right.
Whether you're like, well, okay, I'm in a movie with them, but we didn't have scenes together, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah, exactly.
So I need another movie with them, please.
Okay.
Right? Like, I want a scene with Fern. I want a scene with Lynn.
She is awesome. Like,
she's really cool.
She's so awesome.
Fantastic. And so is Vernon.
Yeah, definitely.
Vernon's like, James who?
Well, I mean, you both are in this horror anthology film, the Tales from the Other Side.
Well, that's also the fun part about watching the anthology films, is watching the other ones I'm not in.
Right, exactly.
Like in Tales of Halloween, like the kids, like that candy monster. Like that's such a great, like,
oh my God, that was a great one. I love it.
I told you not to eat all that candy.
And then
that's Sweet Tooth. Jay Parker's loved it.
I know. I also like the one with the girl. You think she's this quiet girl, and then she turns out to be like, what was she, a werewolf or a vampire? It was one of them.
Yeah, what? So are you talking about the one where Well, there's Saturday the 14th where the girl's being chased by the space alien.
Yeah.
And then it kind of does this twist.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God.
There's so many great segments in that. It was
God.
really, I mean, in the Tales of the Halloween, for me to work like, so there's another example. To work with Dana Gould was a joy. You know, if anything, it's just like, I'm just sad that I haven't got to work with him since then. It was such a fast, you know, we shot Tales of Halloween and our segment of Tales of Halloween in 3 days. So it was a very nice. And believe it or not, the incredible, vivacious, ever talented actor Boo Boo Stewart was my stunt double in that.
Get out, really?
Yeah. I'm like, wow, you're gonna stunt double me? I'm not, he's making me look good. I'm not gonna complain. If only I looked as good as in real life. I'm like, you could be my little brother, the good looking little brother. The talented, good looking little brother. It's like amazing to do it and then see him pop up on these big movies and shows. You're like, wait, that's Boo Boo. Wait, what? That's amazing. That's my little bro. I mean, I want him to be my little bro.
That is crazy that he was doing stunt work for you.
Yeah, his dad's a legendary stunt guy.
I heard about that. Like his father's a stunt worker, and then of course he went on to do Twilight and all those other films. Yeah,
he's got that. He's got the film experience as an actor and as a stuntman.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that he knows those physical movements like that, it only makes him an even better actor.
Oh wow, okay. And
yeah, I've been lucky to work with, you know, a lot of the people I've worked with over the years, and you know, I'm really thankful. I'm honestly, like, maybe because I haven't had a lot of sleep, but that's not true, because I'm always flattered that somebody wants to talk to me about my stuff, because like I said, I see my stuff sometimes and I'm like, if I saw myself going down the street for that movie, I mean, I wouldn't run me over. I might just bump me a little bit. Just, hey, yeah, pay attention to that scene next time, man. Yeah, I did the best I could with what I got.
yeah, exactly. And
Dennis Hopper always said, and Christopher Walken too. I remember when I was growing up, sometimes people were like, why do they do some bad movies sometimes? It's like, well, people got to work.
Right, exactly.
But the other thing is like, you don't always you can either sit down and not work, or you can go work and try to do jobs and try to accomplish new things and experiment with your characters. And it's a perfect opportunity to do that, to work and experiment a little bit, because you don't have control over some of the material. And it's, you know, I will say that I've gotten some stuff where I'm like, oh, I don't think it's so strong, but I need to work. And then I had a great time making it and it came out great. Not good, but great. So you really you don't know. What you can do, what you can control is how well you perform by preparing and just working as hard as you can. And that's what I try to do. I just, you know, I try to do the best I can every job, big jobs, little jobs, whether I'm being run over as a homeless man and beat and then come back as a big producer. I mean, whatever. Which is why I guess I just spoiled that movie. I'm not going to that movie. You're gonna have to wait for this one.
All right, won't say what the name of that movie is, so that you don't get
free LSD. Wait, what? Free LSD. Still in production.
There you go. Okay.
Still tripping.
And speaking of films that are like that, a television series that I actually really liked. I mean, for some reason it didn't get a lot of good reviews, but I liked it. Now
you saw Now Apocalypse.
Oh my god, I loved it.
That's the director. I'm an actor because of Greg Araki, because of that filmmaker. Did totally fucked up, or can I say that? Totally effed up. The Doom Generation, Nowhere, Kaboom.
That was a pretty good movie. I like that.
Yeah, we did an unreleased pilot for MTV called This Is How the World Ends.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like we've been kind of playing with this formula already a few times. But what was interesting about Now Apocalypse, because it is, I mean, you saw it. So it's crazy. I mean, when I read
it's very crazy.
Yeah, I read the scripts first. I hadn't laughed. I don't think I've laughed that hard since I did a Karaoke movie last time. First off, dead serious. Like his scripts are works of art, all in them. Like people have no idea what they watch on screen. His scripts they're a whole other journey. You know, it's and all I can think is like he got Steven Soderbergh to executive produce this. I mean, how are we not banned from television? I mean, you saw it. How did they not ban? It's the most un-PC thing you could do.
I know.
Which is what I mean, if you remember my character without giving that homeless guy away.
Yes.
I don't want to give that away. I'm really proud of that arc.
Yeah, it was a very wild series. And
let's just say that the worst part is 6 months later, the babies come out. So the movie, it just takes this direction where I'm just like, oh. I mean, if anything, I commend Stars for at least giving us one season.
Yeah.
We tried to do a season 2. Greg wrote one. We didn't get renewed for season 2, but I also understand that as well. We are a handful. We mean to be. We aim to be. We aim, so in that sense, like we aim to rock the boat. It's almost a badge of honor to go, well, yeah, no, it's a little too crazy. People don't really get that. We don't think we want another season 2. And then you're just kind of like, told me.
I mean, I was kind of shocked that it didn't get season 2 because I know Tyler Posey has a lot of fans because of the work he did for Teen Wolf. So like all of his fans, like I'm shocked that it couldn't do like a season 2.
I think the thing is we're in such a time of political division.
Yeah, that's true.
And as filmmakers or musicians or artists, writers, painters of any type, we never have really adhered to that. So it's a difficult time in the midst of sort of, you can talk about this, you can't talk about this, we can support this as much as we like it, we can't support that. And then you have Karaoke come around and then dump Now Apocalypse on everyone's lap, and they just don't even know what to do, which is so punk rock, and that's how he's always been, But I think that it can be unsettling for the money people that back these networks.
That's true. Yeah.
They get really, understandably to some degree, they get nervous. There's a lot of money riding on it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because as you can see, like with these little indies that we do, when we're kind of keeping it between us, it gives us a lot more freedom to take it out there.
Exactly.
Or in that sense, once in a while you get someone like Stars who honestly, like, I'm going to commend them. They didn't. We're all a bit heartbroken they didn't renew us, but they also didn't mess with our material. They let Greg make exactly what he wanted to make, and I commend and I respect them for that. That's what they need to be doing. If you want to put these filmmakers' visions out, then you got to kind of adhere to the vision. It's the same thing for me, the 3rd season of Twin Peaks. They tried to, we don't want to do the money, we don't want to let you do it your way, and David Lynch says, I won't do it then. All right, do whatever you want. And then for me, I thought I've always loved David Lynch, but I thought the 3rd season of Twin Peaks for me culminated his entire lifelong body of work. For the first time, I got David Lynch watching. I got all his movies. It's been 30, 40 years of trying to it just all kind of clicked for me on that season. I don't even know how to explain it. But
wow. Okay.
To me, what it means to me.
Exactly.
How it feels, what it does for me. In a way, it wasn't, we're like, what's he trying to say? What's he trying to do? That's the first time I'm like, this is brilliant. I totally get it. Is there something wrong with me? I don't think I'm supposed to get this, but I do. I think a lot of that has to do, it's like every bit of everything that he's done as a filmmaker and, as an artist, with his, because every movie he does, he's completely involved in the sound editing.
Exactly.
And, like art, like an art piece. And so in that sense, being in that type of control, he's able to deliver to me the kind of films that stand out, that are unique and different and powerful at the same time. And it was sort of the beginning of like, you don't really need to be able to say it goes from A to B to C to love it.
Right.
And then to come back 40 years later and wait, no, I totally get A to X back to M to R and then to L and then B again. That was amazing. I totally know how you did that. Wait, Yeah, that was cool. I mean, for me, anyways, maybe I'm a bit of a wackadoo after being in business for 30 years, but I'm like, no, I totally get it.
was it hard playing 4 roles in the movie Beast Mode?
No, that was a lot of fun, actually. That was a lot of fun. So we would do the stuff like, we're shooting all the Michael stuff today. All right, we're shooting all the Huckle stuff today. All right, we're doing the stuff where Michael's pretending to be Huckle. Okay, we're doing the monster now. Now you're the Huckle monster.
Yeah.
So I guess it's, and then there's the Michael monster. So I guess it's like five characters.
Yeah, 5, right? Okay, yeah.
The monsters kind of, to that degree were, it was easy to set it apart because once you sit in that makeup for an hour and a half and then you come back and see anytime you kind of get into I think makeup, special effects makeup like that, like Frank the Bunny did the same thing, kind of something takes over you. Like I know last night I had this Gandalf Jedi beard that was amazing, and just something looking at it and the way you speak, everything's kind of a little bit different. So once I had it even changed my performance a little more.
Okay.
And I like it a little bit more as it adapted and evolved as you're, literally creating the character. So you have the talent and the stuff that you do as the actor beforehand, where you prepare, and then what you might look like, and then you show up on the day and they put you in the wardrobe and the makeup, and then that's what you do look like.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just, you do what you do and you just add the makeup, and sometimes they put the makeup on and everything changes, and all of a sudden it adds this whole dimension to your character that you never saw, that you never felt, because you rehearsed it, you'd gone over it, but you didn't have the prosthetics or
exactly.
And it just does, and you look at it through your own phone camera and all of a sudden you can see and you're like, okay, yeah, this is cool, this is good. It's not what I expected.
Now you're right about that, because I remember I did an interview with C.J. Graham, and he was talking about how as soon as he puts the Jason mask on, like he gets in character, and he don't break the character until he takes the mask off.
It transforms you. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm excited. There's a movie called The Inn that I'm attached to with CJ.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to be working with him this summer.
Nice. He's another guy that's big.
Oh gosh, it's so weird. I guess I'm just used to working with these big guys. Like Nick Principe is my old roommate, and he's like 6'7". My old roommate 6'7" before him. I still work with him, Brian McGuire. Gosh, and I'm only 5'9", so I only hang out and work out with people that are a foot taller than me, by the way.
And, like when you filmed Donnie Darko, like did you ever think, like all these years down the road, that it would get this huge cult following that it has now and fans loving it?
I didn't. No, yeah, that's really, I think, the testament for a true testament, not just for Donnie Darko, but any film, because I loved, honestly, the film. I loved the script. When I read the script, I fell in love with the script. I was like, I don't even think it's read for 6 foot tall and blonde. I'm not 6 feet or blonde. And I was like, well, I'm definitely not going to get this part. Little did I know. But I love this script so much. It just called out to me in a way when I read it, because I'm such a big fan of the original Rod Serling Twilight Zones. It just reminded me of a modern day episode of the Twilight Zone, but the length of a movie without Rod Serling, and you didn't need Rod Serling to tell this story.
Yeah,
it was weird, and it was so self-contained and weird and wild, and I had to read it 6 or 7 times to make sense of it. And really, and then and I did make sense of it. So to some degree, as an actor, you need to make sense of the material you're given, or you're gonna have a hard time going out to perform.
Exactly.
So even if it may not be exactly what it is, I had to establish that years ago. Well, I feel to the most part it hasn't really changed. And I spoke to Richard at length about this while we were filming. Oh, I get this. It's like chaos science and chaos theory, and you have alternate the multiverse and then chaos and order. And if you put them out of balance, it's going to rip a thread and tear the fabric of space and time, and everything would cease to be. And that's what Donnie does, right? And he's like,
oh yeah, I know exactly.
That's what I mean. And Richard's like, whatever you say, Jimmy. Here I am making this chaos science thing about order and chaos in the galaxy and about multiverses and the existence and how they're all tied together with the string. And if you undo the string like a sweater, it all just comes undone. I had all these colorful sort of metaphors. And I'm like, this movie's like a sweater with the thread being taken apart until the whole thing just comes on. Yeah, whatever you say, Jimmy.
Whatever you say.
But then when the movie ends, the sweater's all back together, and that loose missing thread, it's not loose anymore. Where did he go? The jet engine's on it. And so it became this. But I'm really thankful to Rich, and I'm really thankful for that movie because of the life that it had.
Yeah.
As I was saying before, I read it and I thought it was amazing. I didn't know how it was going to do. I just thought it was this amazing script, and Jake and Jenna and Noah and Drew and Seth and Alex and everyone in that movie, and they're so unbelievable. Mark, I could go on and on. Because I've worked with some of those actors. So it's funny that Donnie's mom's the president's wife from Independence Day. So he says, "You're like, Mrs. President." Oh wait, no, I forgot you rose dark like this. But she was great. Everybody was great. Holmes Osborne was great. Everybody on the movie was fantastic, and it came out at Sundance, and which is still probably my favorite cut that's no one's ever seen. It's in between the two cuts that exist.
Oh, okay.
And and the theatrical cut is a direct result of it being picked up at Sundance and them saying, well, we don't care what 10 minutes you cut out of this movie, but you have to cut 10 minutes out for the theatrical. And so that's a theatrical that everyone saw. And I was really quite, it was a combination of things. I think we had a hard time. People didn't know really how to sell our film at Sundance. Really, was it a horror? Was it a thriller? Was it a like a romance? Like they just really didn't. They like to be able to go, this is straight horror. This
exactly.
They don't know what to do when you start to cross genres. And we were lucky to get really, honestly, distribution out of it. And if it wasn't for Christopher Nolan, who'd done at that point Memento, he brought. Nobody wanted to put Donnie Darko out. I've never met Chris Nolan personally, but I know the story from Richard Kelly. Had Nolan not championed our movie, we probably wouldn't have gotten distribution that year out of Sundance. So we got the distribution, and we came out a month after 9/11. So that was the second thing that really kind of hurt the movie. So at that point, it was resolving to the fact that we made this great movie that I think is still great, that no one's ever going to see. But like I said before, you don't have control over this thing. So you just have to go, well, I love it and I'm happy with what I did. And you got to kind of try to just move on. And a couple of years later, I was walking through the Staples, like a copy mat or whatever.
Yeah.
Frank. And I turn around and I go, excuse me. And he's like, Frank, just saw Donnie Darko. I'm like, what? Wow, dude, you saw that? Like you and like 50 other people. Did you like it? He's like, oh man, it was awesome. I'm like, oh man, that was amazing. Like made my day. I made that movie 3 years ago. Wow. I've never, everyone would be like, hey, when's Donnie Darko came in? I'm like, when were you? That was in the theater like 2 years ago. What? It was literally that.
I know.
But over time, more and more, a little bit at a time, like a month later, someone would say something about Donnie Darko, and it started to garner this life. And it garnered this life not because the studios put all this money into it,
but it was the fans.
It was the fans.
Yeah.
It literally was the fans going, you have to see, I don't even know what it is, but you just have to watch this. And that to me is probably the biggest, highest compliment one can be paid. Maybe the only other higher compliment you can be paid as an actor is if someone likes you so much they write a part for you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another massive compliment. But in itself, really, the fact that it's a cult film purely because of that, in a way, to me, stands as something maybe a bit more special than anything else I've ever done, just because of that. You know, and if
Wow.
I have other movies that stand special in their own way,
Well, yeah.
shape, and form for their various reasons as well. But I definitely have to say for Donnie Darko, it is one of those things as well where I know people are like, "Oh, you probably hate this," and Donnie Darko. I'm like, no, I don't. I actually I don't hate it, and I can tell you with confidence and faith, neither does he.
Nice. There it is. There it
There it is.
is.
We are very happy. Very happy. Just
I
me
love it.
and my shadow. All right, go away, Frank. Go away. It's my interview. My time now. Yeah, you know, I mean, honestly, to be sitting here talking with you and to have a good time laughing and talking about the things that we love that inspire us.
Yes, exactly.
That's why I became an actor. Honestly.
Yes.
I just wanted to be around people and do things that inspired me and be around other people that were inspired.
Nice.
Right? I mean, what more could you ask for?
I
mean,
well,
I'm
yeah,
not gonna lie, I think
as
when I
long
was-
as you have fun doing it, right?
as long as you have fun doing
Yeah.
it. And when I was younger, there was certainly this aspect of like, well, I want it to be successful. And I want to be, you know, I don't want that anymore. I'm like, no, man, I'm an actor. It doesn't matter what I look like. You don't need, this is not important because they're going to like, I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to be like this. Hey, come on now. You know, or the beard or, you know, whatever. So you kind of want to like, it's a joy to transform into these different characters and do these different things. So I'm in the school of, it's almost like, oh, you recognize me? Damn it, I failed. Man. Failed.
Like what I like about like films, like the acting in films and stuff, it's a break from your normal life. I mean, you're getting to step in the shoes of someone totally different, like someone you wouldn't even think about being, and
Or would ever want to be.
or would ever want to be. And you get to do that for like a few weeks, a few months, and you get to live a different life, a different character, and it breaks your normal life up and it makes it fun.
Yeah, it's like going to the playground every day. Like your job is to go play. So I'm dead serious. So I know when I was doing Gone in 60 Seconds, Angelina Jolie would say this, and she's true. So in Europe, they call it playing. They don't call it acting. Let's play. And so Angie would come out and we'd come out. She's like, all right, everyone ready to play? I'm like, let's play. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. Let's see what we can do. And you can see it with actresses like her, all the actors on Gone in 60 Seconds, they were all at the top of their game.
Yeah.
So they're always bringing something to the table that's not on the script.
Mm-hmm.
Piece of them or something they kind of came up with and they kind of infused it in there. And it's so brilliant to witness because you learn your craft. I'm learning my craft even still as I go. I always walk away from every job with something more than what I came into it with.
Oh wow, okay. And
that's
you've been in like a lot of films too.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's always something to learn, not just in acting, but in everyday life. And so you keeping that in mind, you know, anything that you learn that you can bring to the table is only going to help you as an artist, whether you're acting or sculpting or painting or plumbing, whatever you do. You know, you hear these masters of craft consistently talk about that they're still, you know, you do come to a point where you master what you're doing, but you still can learn things. You never stop picking things up. Maybe you'll adapt something that you did in the beginning and you find you have no longer use for it. And after 20 or 30 years, it comes back you find a place for it where you can use it again. And this other tool that you've been using for 20, 30 years becomes obsolete and you just kind of throw it out. So I think of, you know, acting or performing as kind of this, you kind of accumulate over the years, all these sort of different types of tools like Felix the cat. And so I reach into my magic bag of tricks and go, what do I need for this scene? Bing! You know, figuratively, and then out comes whatever kind of technique or thing that I need to use. To, you know, perform. And I found that being open to that, especially after all these years, you know, movie before this, I was just doing a children's movie, kind of like a Goonies, low budget Goonies.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Called The Legend of Cat Claws Mountain. And these kids were incredible. It was incredible to work with these kids. In some ways, these kids, you know, between maybe 10 and 16 and they played all the different varieties of like the geek, the bullies, the smart one, who's not geeky, who's kind of cool, but then the kind of cool one who's kind of, you know, and then they kind of, you know, every kid kind of playing their part. But there was no egos with these kids. These kids worked so well together and were so kind of very supportive in a way that even though I've been doing this for 30 years, I learned from working with them. They were incredible. They brought something new to the table that I hadn't experienced after 30 years and 150.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if you stay open like that, and again, and it's not just movies, but it's like everything in life. If you can be open to the fact that there's always something new to learn, that there's always something that life can show you, man, it's like going out to a playground every day. It's like, what new game am I going to learn today? And connecting with actors like Tony Todd, or you know, when you do Sushi Girl and talk to Mark Hamill, and you know, I'm talking to my childhood heroes, and I'm hearing about what inspired them, what made them laugh, what they studied, what turning points had been, you know, I think crucial for them. And these kinds of stories, you learn a lot, you pick up a lot, and the camaraderie of working with people like this as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
You take those with you to the next job. So, you know, certainly times when you get nervous working with some actors, and then I can say that one of the things I have learned over the years, I can be nervous working with so-and-so, but the moment that we're on set and we start doing, I'm not nervous anymore because we're on the level playing field.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. This is where I don't have, that's what I yearn for. Let me get to the set where I don't have to be nervous anymore. We could just do our thing and then it'll be okay. And then after that, I'm like, you say, oh, okay, I'm not nervous anymore. It's sort of this, I still can be shy at times.
Yeah.
When I first meet them. Once I'm, you know, when I think about it, once I'm working with them again, like I get past it. I can totally get past it.
Oh, okay.
But only in a professional setting. If I do the movie with them and we're not acting and it's like doing press and all of a sudden I'll be like, you know, you can talk. I mean, no.
I mean, yeah, I think anybody would be like that, especially like Mark Hamill standing across from you, like who? Yeah,
I mean, I grew up
wouldn't be nervous with that.
Yeah, I wanted to be an actor because of him, because of Luke Skywalker. I wanted to be a Jedi too, but I wanted to be an actor because of him. And it also gave rise to the part where you get comfortable enough. So when we would be at Comic-Con talking about Sushi Girl, I'm like, oh, Sushi Girl, and I work with all my childhood hero actors. And so just so you know, I'm an actor because of them. So if you don't like my performance, it's their fault. So I kind of push the buck over.
There you go. Okay, that's smart. I like that.
I remember a few times Mark and Tony were like, wait a minute, wait, what?
That's smart. That's really cool. I like that. and what about songs? Like, what kind of songs do you like listening to? What's on your playlist?
What was interesting? I could tell you that I always have kind of these soundtracks and songs for movies. Like, for instance, with Frank, like one of the songs that was I felt that was a Frank the Bunny song, was a song by the Pixies off the Doolittle album called Mr. Greaves.
Okay.
And I used to say, that's who Frank is. That's who I am. I'm Mr. Greaves. Mr. Greaves. You can cry, you can mope, but can you swing from a good rope? I'm like, oh man, yeah, that's kind of dark. Yeah, that's not me. That's Frank. That's Frank's song. That's the Pixies. That's Mr. Greaves. He's Mr. Greaves. Exactly. So you kind of come up with these sort of theme songs for your character, even if they're not in the movie and no one ever else hears them or sees them. You know, it is kind of like in the background of my mind, the soundtrack to my character. And it's one of the funnest things about actually like doing movies, and when you get a character, it's like, so when you're trying to create a character, one of the basic foundations is sort of establishing who they are. Mm-hmm. So it's easy to establish who a character is if you know what they listen to, right? Well, no, man, I don't listen to that. I listen, I listen to my character listens to a lot of hardcore. Or like my character. And so I'm a mod in SLC Punk, and I was listening to like the Jam when we were doing it, and Ed Ball and the Times, and the Toasters and Let's Go Bowling and English Beat, and but by the time we did get to Punk's Dead into the sequel, I'm in a Norwegian black metal, so I'm listening to Gall and Gorgoroth and Mayhem, and I gotta just you kind of open yourself up to it. So
yeah, exactly.
Death metal for a few months there, Norwegian,
Nice.
not death metal, Norwegian black metal, because there is a difference. There is a huge difference.
There definitely is. And what would be your go-to karaoke song?
Maybe I'm a poet, a piper, a pusher from Frank Sinatra. I'm a poet, a piper, a pusher. Only because that's the one I think I can hit those notes. That or My Name is Luca, but I'm not very good at My Name is Luca.
Okay.
I kind of just don't sing it. It's more of a, she's like, my name is Luca. I just, my name is Luca. I live on the second floor. I live upstairs from you. I do it kind of like William Shatner.
yeah, exactly. I know. That's how he does his
Do you
music.
really want to be like common people?
That's right. That's right.
Do you really want what common people want? Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Picture yourself on a boat on a river. Have you heard him do that?
Oh my God, I did. I did. That was I was crying. That's how hard I was laughing. I was crying.
Mr. Tambourine Man. Mr. Tambourine Man, there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, sing a song for me. And his CD, I have it up on my shelf. It's called The Transformed Man. I also have Spock's album and Uhura's album too.
Nice.
Love them. They're genius. Yeah. Leonard Nimoy does this version of Bilbo Baggins. It's just the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins. It's great. Oh God. If you get, honestly, it is really cool. And if you ever catch it, this goes to you and to everybody out there watching this. Go on YouTube and watch Leonard Nimoy do Bilbo Baggins, the video.
Okay. Okay.
It's amazing.
Okay. I definitely will.
Out of the 60s.
I'm going to listen to that today.
Oh, the dances and the moves, and that deep.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Nice.
Yeah, Leonard Nimoy, his album's amazing. He's grooves, man. He grooves with a turtleneck and a medallion. He grooves it. I'm like, Spock, you got grooves, man. You groovy, man. It's like gas. It's like gas.
And I know you're a fan of the cannabis and CBD. So like, how do you feel about like more states being open now to legalizing it?
Keep kids off the streets. I think honestly, I think it's an incredible thing. It's something I didn't think I would see, to be quite honest with you. I remember, don't take my, I'm halfway joking when I say this, but I remember years ago, someone coming to me and saying, well, I have a question that no one can answer. Maybe you can answer it, Jimmy, but no one's ever come up with an answer that I think is valid, because there is no answer. How do you stop wars? How do you stop people from fighting? So I gave it a good hard look. I thought about it. And after a few seconds, because it came to me pretty quick, I'm like, well, you're not going to like my answer, and it's not realistic because it's never going to happen. But if the whole world got stoned, no one would be picking up guns, shooting each other. It could be too stoned to do it. But that's never going to happen because not everyone would ever smoke weed. Exactly my point. But if they did, there's your answer.
That is a very good point.
If the whole world was stoned, I don't think we would be fighting with each other this much. I also don't think we know how to get to the store and pick up a pack of eggs either. But who cares when you have delivery, right?
Right, exactly. What you do is pick up your phone, put what you want, and there it is.
It's like, I'm your delivery guy. I'm so glad. Last time it took me 10 stops before I found the right place.
Exactly.
This one only took me 7. But I think it's an important thing, because and I like to drink a little bit too, but I mean it's a lot less damaging than that, when it comes, I do a lot of yoga. I do
Oh,
work out. I
nice.
lift weights. I work out a lot, and I have for 30 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I find that, you know, for me, smoking is good for my appetite. It's good for body pains. It helps me sleep. I myself, I know some people kind of get cuckoo off it. I don't, fortunately, because I've been smoking since 1985, but I don't get cuckoo off of it, you know? And I mean, back then it really wasn't very strong. I mean, the strong stuff for us then, like now, it's not really, I think people eat it in a gummy bear. You know? Like one gummy bear that everyone's like, oh, it's nothing. Like back in 1985, 5 of us would be like, oh man, woo-hoo! Woo! Ah! Couldn't even talk, you know what I mean? You're just like, ah! Now, like, look at this. What's this one say? 35% THC. So got a total of like 42%.
Oh my God. Wow.
Like in England, they classify that as a psychosis. It gives you psychosis. I'm like,
Really?
no, I mean, relaxosis is what it gives me.
Oh, wow.
Relaxosis.
Okay.
From it. Relaxosis, happyosis, contentosis.
All of the osises, right?
all the positive osises one can ever desire. It's about food. You know, and of course, you know, this is my sativa, but then I like to have my indicas too. You know, like
Nice.
get your hybrids too once in a while. But yeah, I mean, I think I never thought I'd live to see the day, to be quite honest.
Exactly.
And then sometimes I'm also, oh man, wait, that means I am old. But you know, I'm excited. You know, it also gives rise. So I have a movie out right now, a stoner movie that's playing at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you're on Amazon or Vudu, it's available. Hopefully, we'll be on streaming soon, but it's available. Like you can download it.
Oh, okay.
Or buy the streaming. But it's called I Challenger. And I play this 40-year-old gamer stoner who sells weed to underage kids. And I'm trying to find direction in my life. And one of the kids that I become friends with becomes my best friend, really, my video game partner, convinces me that I need to find luck. And then so on a stoned, you know, tirade, I go onto YouTube and find these Russian burial videos where people are Russia, which is true, were burying themselves for 24 hours underground for luck.
Oh, wow.
My character decides that that's what he's going to do. Money, job, all kinds of shit. Bury myself underground. That's how I'm going to find my luck. And so I do. And I live stream it. And let's just say it doesn't go out the way I planned. That's where the movie starts to. So I don't want to spoil it, but that's where the movie starts to turn. And
oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's locked in a box 6 feet underground. Yeah. Televised.
Oh my God, that is so crazy.
But I think, you know, it's also through this journey, the film takes, I think, a very heartfelt twist and turn. You find these things about the character you had no idea about. And so in that sense, it almost takes like a tonal shift. So it changes genres almost. Yeah. So it goes from like the stoner comedy to almost kind of like this thriller locked in a box. And I didn't realize it until we started sharing the trailer with a few people, and a few friends were like, nope, not watching that. I was like, what are you talking about? Why? And they're like, the box. I'm claustrophobic. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, I hope we don't lose a lot of people because of that. But come on, you all got to be stoners. Doesn't that like take precedence?
Yeah.
Stoner comedy. So I won't give away what happens to my character.
Okay.
But that's kind of the adventure of the movie, is once he gets buried underground and what happens when it doesn't go his way.
Oh my God.
Can he survive it?
Yeah, I know, exactly.
It's a precarious thing, because the thing that about these Russian burial videos that my character doesn't really focus on, which is true, is some of these people that were doing it had died. So you have to be careful. Not really well thought out, but who needs a well thought out plan when you got 35% right here? Right? You just let this do all the thinking for you.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, so that's called I Challenger, and I'm really excited about it. And that's playing. You know, I've a few things playing right now.
Oh, nice.
So that's also the joy of having the other side of, or the Tales from the Other Side come out. Wow, okay, so all this work that I'm doing is kind of, it's nice to see it come out. It is nice to see it come out, and that hopefully people like it. Because the other movie I did, so this is more of a sci-fi dystopia
Oh,
Not
okay.
post-apocalyptic, more dystopian, set in the near future. Half the world's gone under half the world's gone to sleep on this wonder drug created by Martin Landau. So it's one of Martin Landau's last films with us.
Oh,
So
wow.
I got to work with Bela Lugosi. Boris Karloff's not good enough to smell my shit. So yeah, it was, I can't even begin what a joy it was to work with Martin Landau.
Nice.
Michael Gladys from Mad Men, who plays my son,
Yeah.
who plays his love interest, who lives across the way. So it's really, it starts off and you meet this. So the basic premise is it's in the near future. Half the world's gone to sleep under this wonder drug created by Martin Landau. And then Martin Landau's character, whose name's Ward, kills himself. And half the world wakes up off the wonder drugs, doesn't work anymore. And so it's called Without Ward. How does the world live without Ward? So the rest of the half of the world doesn't know what to do because these people weren't supposed to wake up. So they put them all on house arrest and quarantine them, lockdown. Flash forward, because they don't know what to do with them. They were never supposed to wake up, half the world. So flash to 2 years later, and this is the beginning of the movie after the introduction, and we've been on house arrest for 2 years under penalty of death, and we are sick of each other. And somehow through this, my son falls in love with the girl across the way, getting naked and masturbating to her, and saves the world. I mean, I don't want to give anything else away. You know me with my twists and turns, but basically this movie is about a guy who gets naked and masturbates to this girl and ends up saving the world that's under lockdown. Yes, exactly. See, this movie's perfect for you, our audience. I'm telling you, that's exactly as crazy as this movie is. It's exactly what it sounds like. And I'm very, very proud of it. And I hope that people get a chance to go see it because it's whacked out. So if you think that it's crazy, I played like a 60-year-old dad, but look, still 38. Because 58. I play 58, but I still look 38 because in those 20 years, it's the near future. So I got the best health plan. I didn't age for 20 years. My kids never thought they were going to wake up. So my son in particular got the worst health plan. So when we wake up after 20 years, he looks older than me. And
oh no.
Me out. So we have these family can't even communicate with each other. There's a complete breakdown of relationships with people, but it's also very, very, it is a comedy. It's very comedic. So it's supposed to be outrageous like this.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't want to say too much more about it, but that's without Ward. And then there's a band. So you're asking about music. There's this. Currently there's a band called Boy Harsher, which is like dark synth music. Very cinematic. So they have written a short movie called The Runner, which they also wrote their second album called The Runner. So it's the Runner original soundtrack, and it's all based upon this sort of short movie they wrote about this woman who's running, and it's on Shudder right now.
Oh yeah.
I have a very small part on it, but the music and the story itself is cutting edge and creepy, super cool, and like I like stuff for the sound element, and then I love their story for the horror element, but they bring a cool element to it that I never. I'm like, oh, you guys are actually making me cool. I can't believe they invited me on to do. I mean, it's just a little cameo, but they invited me on to do a little part, and I couldn't be more excited because I'm such a huge fan of them.
Nice.
Like I think right now I'm listening to my music variety is like pretty wide. It spans wide. Everything from dark synth band Boy Harsher to there's these bands right now that Alan McGee, who originally had Creation Records in the 90s, he's got these 4 bands in particular, and I'm head over heels over all of them. One's called the Shambolics.
Okay.
Another one's called the Gulps.
Okay.
Can't get enough of them. Stuck in the city, stuck in the city. Love them. The Clockworks, these guys. I've got half a mind to sign on the line and half a mind to throw it all away. Throw it all away. So yeah, I'm loving this. And then there's this other. All these bands are rocking, high energy, amazing, and to round that the 4 off is a band called Cat SFX.
Okay.
She and her band rock it. Even have a song called Doom Generation.
Nice.
And when I first saw it, I'm like, wait, what's this? Oh, I love them. Oh my God, they're amazing. They're making me cool. I don't even think it's about our movie or us, but it just, in my mind, it makes us cool. keeping me relevant in my mind. No, because I am a legend in my own mind. Wait, no, I'm not. I'm not even a legend in my own mind. What am I saying? That's a horrible line.
Well, I saw you also were in a couple music videos too, like Anthrax and 9 Inch Nails, right? Wasn't that the two bands
well,
you
the
did?
9 Inch Nails is more of a voiceover. It was one of my first jobs. I
Okay,
was 19
okay.
in Hollywood, and I was working with Greg Rock, and he was friends with Peter Christopherson, rest his soul, who's directing. He's from the band Coil,
Yeah.
and he was directing the Broken EP videos, which got banned by the record company. And so they needed someone to come in and do the voiceover of these people being tortured and skinned and gasoline poured down their throat and their teeth being yanked out without anesthesia. And so I came in to do it. And the twist of this story is I remember by the time we finished at the end of the day, it was just 2 or 3 hours of doing it in Trent's house in his studio in Beverly Hills, which doesn't exist anymore because it was where the Mansons had murdered the Tates.
Oh, okay.
And so when I finished doing it, they're like, so how is that doing that in the house that the Manson murdered the Tates? And I'm like, the Mansons murdered the Tates. I'm like, I'm really creeped out. I'm really creeped out now. Because I'm only 19. And I still regret it to this day, though, because Trent was so nice and so actually just soft-spoken and down to earth. And His thing was so kind of really cool and really passionate about what he was doing. I was so kind of starstruck in a lot of ways because I was a huge 9 Inch Nails fan. Pretty Hate Machine and Broken. And they invited me to stay for turkey.
Nice.
Turkey dinner. But
nice.
Like the Teeth and the Manson and the Tates and like, you want to stay for dinner? I'm like, oh, look at the time. I got to go. I'm so sorry. And I was just, went outside and was like, all right, let's get out of here. I had to come out. I was just holding that one. I got into shit. But it's now that I talk about it in the highlight, if I wasn't so young, I definitely would have stayed and, told them.
Right, exactly.
I admired and put myself, if there's anything you ever do, please don't I'll do it for free. Because I think I got paid $100 to do that.
Okay.
Well, they got paid $100, but that was really cool. And the Anthrax thing came about while I was shooting a movie, that one with Lynch in it, and the Black Room, and a friend who was visiting ended up getting the directing gig for it and brought me on board.
Nice.
He's like, I'm going to do this Anthrax video. Do you want to be in it? And I'm like, do I want to be in it? When are we doing this? And I'll tell you what little piece of trivia most people don't know. You know the band Bauhaus and Love and Rockets?
Yeah, yes.
So the bass player who's become a friend of mine used to play in this band Jazz Butcher that I'm actually wearing, one of my favorite bands. He just passed away. Nice. But his son wanted to be an actor. So David J's son is in that video with me, one of the people being tortured, like I'm being tortured. That would be in the video. I'm like, we're getting tortured to death in this. All in a day's work.
Right, exactly. Hey, it's all in a day's work. You're having fun, getting paid.
Yeah, well, what I loved about that is first, I've loved Anthrax since I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
So, I was like, I couldn't believe it. And the second thing that they were doing this video, the Blood Eagle Wings.
Nice.
You know what I mean? It was all the ultimate. They were killing and torturing all these people. The ultimate one was cutting my back open and then breaking my ribs up and then pulling my lungs out and hanging them over the side of my body. How could I say no?
I know you can't say no to that.
Blood Eagle Wings, count me in. And it was a similar thing, I think with Ian Scott from Anthrax. Like I was just sort of, and I was much older though. I was kind of a fan, and there were a couple other kind of big people there, so I kind of was just a little shy.
Yeah.
I didn't really say much, and at the time they were talking about Game of Thrones, which I could have easily jumped into because it was in the midst of it, when I was loving it too. And it was just like when no one was safe, they just did things like the Red Wedding. You're like, that's the best thing on TV. Did you see the Red Wedding? Oh my God. I've never seen anything like that. So it was during that time. I think I did bring up, I did bring up for a moment, because I didn't completely climb up, but I talked about the fact that if you liked Game of Thrones and watch Vikings.
Oh yeah.
Vikings,
Yeah.
I loved Vikings too. I thought
Mhm,
Vikings, you know,
mhm.
kill, 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 blood, guts, kill. It was so brutal. I can't believe what I was like. Yeah, yeah. It brought this primal urge out of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just like, I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not Viking. I'm not Norse at all. Except in I guess in Punk's Dead, I'm a wannabe Norseman, a wannabe Norwegian black metal guy. Not a mod anymore. Now I'm in a Norwegian black metal. I love it. I'm like, he's like, guys who just dress up and like look the part like a poser. And I'm like, that's exactly what I play in the movie.
That's exactly what I.
Because at one point he's like, "Damn man, why you can't just be pulling a sword out on people?" I'm like, "Why do you think people come in here? It's a total act,
Right? Exactly.
I'm a total poser." Just never
Oh.
admit it out loud, man. Never admit it out loud.
where can fans find you at, like, what's your social media and all that stuff?
I promise to be more active. I've been horrible at it just because, well, partly because I've been working a little bit.
Yeah,
You
of
know, when I start
course.
to bounce back and through, I don't post as much when I'm working. I don't post at all when I'm working, actually.
Yeah.
So sometimes I know it's funny. It's like, hey, if you want to post one, I'm like, post. No, I'm running lines and breaking stuff down with act. That's like, that's the last thing I'm doing, honestly. Like, if we can get an assistant to do this, or you just want me to repost something, but no, I mean, I'm gonna kind of rehearse with the other actors. I'm not posting anything.
Right.
That's the fun of it, to get to set and start, you know. And you know, that all depends too. Some actors don't like to rehearse. Since I started theater first, I love to rehearse.
Okay.
Yeah, I think rehearsing is important, but I you know, different processes for everybody. I know some people like, I never rehearse. Okay, have fun with that. I do not go on the stage without rehearsing incessantly.
So don't be expecting a lot of posts from you. Like, if a fan wants to follow you on social media, don't be expecting a lot of posts, right?
well, no, more like I promise, like this gets me to post more. Like I promise to post more. It's almost, you know, it's almost weird because it's like I have so much to post actually. And I think about like 5 months ago, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put those 4 posts up.
Yeah.
That was like back in January, February, and I'm not, now it's like it's gotta be at least maybe 20 things. And it's like it just piles up. I'm like, man, it takes me like 30 minutes for one post. You know, I'm so
Okay.
I'm so 20th century. I'm like, what do I say? Now that doesn't sound right. Well, I'll just use some hashtag. I hate those. I don't like that. What one is no one using? Let me use that. And then you use it and you're like, oh, but no one's gonna find it if I use it. Why don't everyone use it? Why don't we lumped in with them? But it will. Like, so I'm on Instagram and Twitter, Real James Duval, just one word, Real James Duval. And I do post like videos and stuff from when I'm shooting. Like I said, I have a lot to catch up on, and probably in the next few weeks is things, because I have a little bit of time in June before I go back in July and August.
Gotcha.
A couple projects, so it gives me some time to kind of throw up some funny things up there. Like I'll throw up my beard from last night.
Nice.
Is he a Jedi or is he Gandalf? No, he's just a homeless man.
I want to thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Like, you are so awesome. Like, you're very funny, and I mean, it was really cool to talk to you.
Well, honestly, I mean, thank you for talking to me and taking the time. And it really is like, you know, and it's funny because sometimes I can be weird, like, oh, it's so weird. It's hard for me to talk about myself, but I feel like we're just having, like, I can sit down and we just have a conversation.
Right? Yeah.
I'm not necessarily talking about me so much as like my experiences, which makes it easier for me, because I'm like, me, nobody wants to hear about me. Homeless dude. I mean, Jimmy. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what's nice. I can see that my hair's kind of got that shine, and I didn't even put anything in. It's got
It
that
actually
nice
looks
balance.
really good.
I was like, wow, look at that nice balance. I just took a shower and 6 a.m. I'm like 6 a.m. This came out great. And it's be fine. You know, I'm gonna smoke a little bit. I'm gonna go right back to sleep. I'll sleep a couple hours. Yeah, and then I'll go on a hike. Then I'm off tomorrow, and then back to finish the movie on Monday.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I know I'm sorry again. I really shouldn't. You know, I really shouldn't talk about free LSD is the name.
Yeah, I don't know what that movie's called.
I don't know, but I'll tell you this: free. That's my favorite. I'm really good at free. I'm really good at free. Oh, those are free. Don't mind if I do. No problems here. Don't have to twist my arm on the way out.
Right, exactly.
I'll take it with me. I guess you know, if there's anything, I guess towards the end, you know, I would like to give a special shout out to Film Threat.
Okay.
Film Threat Magazine and Film Threat and Chris Gore and everyone at Film Threat and award this because they just had their award ceremonies last week. And
nice.
You know, they had the best picture and best indie and best film under 120,000. We won best what the fuck is this movie even of 2021, and we couldn't be more proud, to be quite honest. I'm dead serious. I'm so proud of that, because that's you've seen some of my movies now, so you can attest to the fact that is the genre. It's not like best comedy. I'm best what the f is this movie even.
Yeah, exactly.
I gave the director kept the cut, but it's like best WTF. I'm like, that feels so good. It warms me up inside. I'm like, they get me. Not like they like me, but they get me. They really get me. What the f? That do you call? So it's like I don't do, you know, like I was saying, I like to cross genres, but really my more preferred genre is like, what the f is this movie?
Yeah,
That's my
exactly.
preferred genre. Yeah. I'm dead serious. And so when you watch these movies, I mean, I don't think they fit into any other category. Most of my more recent
probably not
are in the WTF category. But I mean, for me, that's like A+ in originality.
Right, exactly.
Certainly not a remake.
Oh yeah, and there's plenty of them that's going around.
Yeah, I was like, I have one on my Gone in 60 Seconds. I even have a remake on my resume. I have a soft spot in my heart for that movie though, because the actors were great and it was a lot.
Yeah.
And Dominic Sena, the director, was a joy. It was really I don't have bad things to say about working on that. Like,
oh, good.
The studio movies I've worked on, they've been incredible. So yeah, it's you couldn't ask for better. And the same thing I think with a lot of indies too. You know, you really on that level, even though they're completely different, you couldn't ask for more, couldn't ask for better. People who are out there who love what they do.
Yeah.
And they're doing it. And they're doing it the best they can do it. And that's inspiring.
Oh yeah, of course. You can't ask for more than that, as long as, you know, if they're going out there and loving what they're doing.
Yeah, and so it's easy when they love what they do and you love what you do.
Yeah.
You most likely, even if it doesn't come out to Oscar winner, which like who cares anyways? I'm not out here to win awards, you know. I'm out here to do what we do because I love it. And then hopefully the movie comes out well. You know, I certainly don't, and I know a lot of my filmmaker friends, we don't pretend to be geniuses or masters of what we do, but we do love it. You know, and I think that's, you know, can be said across the board for all of us, whether you love Ed Wood or not, who many people consider him one of the worst filmmakers. It's not about that. It's about having a passion and loving what you do.
Exactly.
And that goes with anything in life. And so I think you know, before we sign off on anything, you know, or before we sign off today, with anything, I mean, that's kind of like the point I would like to bring to people and how I try to live my life, you know, is this idea that, you know, we can kind of do anything. You know, we're not be adhered to these rules. You know, all you have to do is love what you're doing. If you don't, go find something else. But love what you do. Well, I think that's the two things I like to adhere by. Love what you do and do what you love. And if you do that, then you never really work.
That's true. You're right about that. You're right.
I mean, it can be hard work, but I don't call that work. I call that's you know, like even shooting late last night, I'm like, that's still fun. You know,
well,
the movie.
It's like what you were saying, you're playing.
We're playing, yeah. I used to live across the street from the school, so it was always great to be able to go across the street to the playground and there was a park there every day, whenever I wanted, any time of the day. And so the opportunity to be an actor is much the same way. Like you see that playground, but you can go play in. It's not like it's closed to you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one day. I'm like, no, I beat down that fence. All right, well, I climbed it. I climbed it.
Nice.
Jumped over, got in trouble, just climbed it again. Keep climbing it.
Exactly. You keep climbing it and keep having fun.
They're like, there's the kid with the STDs. He keeps coming back. I told you, I'm never going away. I'm never going away. You got me for life, like luggage. So just get used to me.
There you go.
You're gonna learn to love me sometime. Yeah, I'm just kidding. It's been such a fun interview and so great.
It really has. This is awesome. I mean, I haven't stopped laughing. Yeah, this is really fun.
Thank you. I mean, it's been a blast for me too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, buddy. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I see I took up a lot already. So thank you.
I know, it's fine. It's Saturday. I'm going back to sleep.
Okay. Okay, there you go.
With a little help from my friends, I get high. With a little help from my friends, I get by. With a little help from my friends.
And those are some good friends to have.
They are very, very. I've never let me down.
That's true. That's true. Those friends never let you down. The human ones do.
That's when like somebody comes and try to take me out of the screen. Like, no. I live. We're in Cali. No. We're in Cali. We're in California.
Exactly.
It's like.
Yeah, there it is again.
Mine.
All right, buddy. Thanks again, man.
Thank you, Chris. Have a great one. If you need anything else, like just let them know, and you feel free to contact me if you need anything.
Okay, sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for taking the time and for talking to me and for having such a fun interview.
Oh my God, definitely. Yes. All right, bye. Well, definitely have a great day and great weekend and have fun with your friends.
Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon. I hope to meet you in person sometime very, very soon.
Oh, for sure. Like if I see you're at any con that's coming close to me, I'm definitely coming.
Please, yeah, come and stop by. I'm just gonna shove my stuff in your face. I'm like, no, you just have this. Sell it. I'm like, I can't sell it. Use it for toilet paper.
Okay, deal.
Come out useful for something. Thanks, Jimmy.
Definitely, yes, definitely.
I know I got an odd sense of humor. I'm an odd one.
Well, definitely have a good weekend, buddy.
All right, you too. I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you all around.
Bye.
Bye.